Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee, and this is Randy, and we're here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue, bringing you some adoptable pets in need of a new place to stay. They are certainly welcome to stay here as long as they need to, but what we are really looking for is a home just like yours. So our first guest this morning is called Trinity, and Trinity is a beautiful little tortoiseshell kitten. She is only 6 months old. She is a spayed female, and she was brought to us by some people who just did not have time to add another kitten to their family. And she was in foster care with one of our employees, and so she is ready to start her new life. One of the things that you should know about Trinity is she's a little shy with new people. That's why Randy brought her out in her security bed. This is something that her foster mom got for her. And it makes her feel comfortable. And sometimes people are concerned about cats that have to stay in shelters because they feel that for a person it would be really hard to stay in a small cage. But cats actually prefer to be able to control people sneaking up behind them or reaching over them. So when they're in a new place, they want to go in a small tunnel-like area that they feel they can control. So the bed helps her feel a little more secure. And as you can see, she's thinking about coming out, maybe, but the bed gives her a little base by which to explore something new. So if you have been thinking about getting a cat, we have about 13 more kittens in foster care, and then we have about 10 teenage kittens here at the shelter ready for adoption. And if you're going to get a cat in the winter, one of the things you might want to do is plan for some environmental enrichment. And that's just a fancy word for making your house more interesting, since cabin fever is a risk this time of year. So you can do things like providing beds, paper bags. Please don't use plastic bags. Paper bags without handles so cats can run in and jump around those. Cardboard boxes. You can buy things, tunnels and crinkly sacks that cats like to play in, hanging toys, motorized toys, water fountains. That's another thing you can do to make things interesting for a cat. So if you think that Trinity would make a good cat for you or someone that you know, most of you know what to do by now, but what you can do is go to petfinder.com, find her picture there and share that at work by printing it, or you can share it on social media, or you can wait till the end of the show and get the link for this show and share that. Our next guest is Minnie, another female kitten who's tortoiseshell. She is Dilute tortoiseshell, and she's a little older than Trinity. She's about 10 months old, and she's already spayed, but she came to us as a stray. So we do know she was someone's pet, at least someone who took care of her getting spayed. But there are a lot of people who care for cats in their community who don't necessarily plan to keep them forever. There's also a lot of people who have a cat that they spay and vaccinate, and then the cat disappears and they don't contact the shelter looking for their cat. Now, I don't really know why this is. Clearly, she was someone's pet. She's very people-oriented. But I am not sure why people, if their dog is missing, call the shelter probably within hours, if not minutes, of realizing their dog is gone. But with cats, people tend to feel like, oh, she'll come back or he'll come back. And the risk with that is that in the time that you don't call the shelter, other people do call the shelter with the found report, saying that they've found this cat, that they're going to keep her in their house for a couple days, they're going to look for the owner, and we can't make those matches if we don't get the phone calls. There are also some Facebook pages that handle postings of lost and found pets, and we try to look at those as often as we can. But we're going to have an interesting story at the end of today's show about what can happen when pets go missing and we don't know at the animal shelter on Rosemont, so that we can't get them back to their owner in a timely fashion. For cats, it's especially critical because within 5 days of arriving here, they are checked out, vaccinated, and given their health clearance to be adopted. So it's possible if your cat goes missing and you don't call us for a week, that your cat could already be in a new home and not here at the shelter when you come to check. So if you are missing a cat, please let us know. Please send a picture. Please check in person often, because if you compare Trinity and Minnie, then you would see that they're both tortoiseshell cats. They're both about the same age, but they're very, very different looking. So matching up the lost and found reports would be difficult without a picture. Our next guest is Elvis, and Elvis is also a kitten. He's about 8 months old, and he's a little bit shy. He's a very special cat because he has extra toes. For those of you who know, it's called polydactyl, or being a Hemingway cat, and it is inherited, and normal for cats. It's just unusual, but it makes his little feet look like mittens. Quite cute, and some people say it makes cats better hunters, but since all cats are pretty efficient hunters, I'm not sure that's true. It just looks like it would. And unfortunately, they can't use those extra toes like opposable thumbs, so doesn't make it possible to dial the phone or anything like that. So Elvis is one of the teenagery kittens that we have, 3 of which you've met today. We still do have about another dozen in foster care. If you are waiting for a kitten, the season is almost over. And sometimes people ask, how can we know when the kittens are coming in? And it's a little hard for us to tell you in advance because, for example, if a litter of kittens arrives at the shelter from their foster home with every intention that they stay in the shelter and be adopted, but they don't weigh 3 pounds upon arrival, then they go back to their foster care for a little more growth and care. So we can't always tell you exactly what day the new kittens are coming in. But if you have a special wish, you know about the wish list. If you want a Siamese-looking kitten or a snowshoe-looking kitten or something special, then we can keep an eye out for you there. But it's just very hard when we get 1,200 kittens between April and October to make those special decisions, because really you have to come in and hold the kitten, meet the kitten, decide that there's a personality match to really know for sure. So we encourage you to do that. Come in as often as you can while the kittens are arriving until you find the right one. And if Elvis is the right match for you, then come on down and meet him. He has beautiful green eyes, and he doesn't weigh very much. So even though he has kind of a sizable appearance, he's a lightweight and probably not going to be too huge. Hopefully right now you can see those extra toes and his little mitten feet so that you can see how really cute he is. If you know someone who might be interested in Elvis, or if you are, then pass his information on or come down and meet him. Our next guest is quite beautiful. This is a beautiful brown tabby and white cat named Dolly. And Dolly is also a spayed female. She is almost a kitten. She's 18 months old. So she is almost all the way grown up. Oh, she got a little scared by a door closing off camera. But she came to us because her owner had to go into assisted living. And we talked a little last week about what can happen to pets if people don't have a plan for their own emergencies. But some emergencies you just can't plan ahead for. So what can work is if you put a card in your wallet that says who someone should call in the event of emergency that's a pet sitter, or can at least gain access to your house, take care of your pets until your family figures out what they want to do. Dolly is a beautiful cat who, because she's so young, will be able to fit into pretty much whatever situation she's handed. But as you can see, she's a little scared. And that's perfectly normal for a cat to come from a house where they've lived most of their lives since she left her mom, and I mean her cat mom, and then to end up here at the animal shelter and get all settled into her cage and then move to a different room. It's a little hard on cats. Dogs have an easier time traveling with people they don't know than cats do. And because she's so pretty and she's already spayed and already used to people, I think she's going to make someone a really great pet, especially someone who wants a quiet and sweet one. So if you think you might be interested in Dolly, or you know someone who might be interested in Dolly, then please let us know. And always remember, you can share their picture around because that really helps. There are still a lot of people who don't know the shelters on Rosemont Avenue. There are a lot of people who don't know the types of animals that we have or anything about our adoption process. So if anyone has questions, I'll give you a brief overview. You come to the shelter, you fall in love with a pet, you fill out an application, and we make sure that if you don't own your own home, that your landlord says it's okay, and that your existing pets, if any, have their rabies shots or get their rabies shots. And then we talk to you about how to teach her to fit into your home. It's pretty simple, and we want to make it easy. So let us know if you are thinking about getting a pet or know someone who is. Our next guest is Charlie, another brown tabby with white, and he has the more typical male cat look, the big cheeks that a lot of people like. And Charlie is 2 years old, and he was found as a kitten by a family who had lots of pets, and they said that he likes dogs. So he's going to make someone a pretty nice family pet, given the experience that he's already had. They had a collie who he befriended. So needless to say, it can be hard for a cat that's found living outside and knows that freedom and how to get his own food, and then is accepted into a family full of, what become his family members, and then they end up at the shelter. It can be a little hard for them to get used to things, but he's done a really great job. And so he got a new, bigger cage today. And it looks like Charlie's our last kitty for today because it looks like Charlie is getting a cold. You can see he's winking one eye. So that is contagious to other cats, and that means that Randy will be dealing with dogs for the rest of the time that he's here today. But one of the things that can happen to cats when they come into the shelter, even though we give them vaccines for all of the typical cat viruses that are passed around, it does take a little bit of time for the vaccines to work. And there are a lot of colds that we don't have vaccines for. So Charlie is going to get over that the way that we all do, eating, feed a cold and starve a fever, and taking care of himself and getting pampered until he feels well. We don't take cats that have mild upper respiratory infection signs off the adoption floor because they don't necessarily like to move. And we also want them to still have the chance to be seen and adopted. Now, if they feel badly enough that they don't want to eat, they have a fever or something like that, then we put them back in our hospital room until they feel better. But it is really better for them to get a home as soon as possible. So our volunteers handle these cats by, we place a little mark on their name tag, letting them know not to let them touch other cats and hand sanitize between animals. So this is something that is routine for us. But if you have any questions when you come in to visit, please let us know, because we always have volunteers watching the cats and visitors watching the cats to make sure that we know everything that's going on with them. And as you can see, he still feels good. He is just potentially getting a little kitty cold. So if you think you know someone who might be interested in Charlie or a cat like Charlie, then please remind them about the animal shelter and that we have so many animals here. We are always willing to work with you to find the right one and make a good match. We are going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back with some more adoptable animals for you to view. And hopefully we'll make some matches today. Almost every day we have animals leaving the shelter to their adoptable homes. But since we take in an average of 15 a day, we could always use more.
Aw, man. concerned that there is a party taking place where there's underage drinking or drugs being used, or that you've heard that a party is going to take place, there's a tip line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 301-600-1318.
We are back with some more adoptable pets from Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue. And we are beginning this segment with Eve. And I know everyone wants her now. She is a very young puppy. And she is brindle in color, even though she may appear to be black. She's got some little tiger stripe markings. She has a cropped tail. And she is a delightful puppy. She came in crate trained, and she's got a great attitude. She's going to be easy to motivate and take care of. What we do for all of our puppies, as you all know by now, is we take 4 applications and we pick the best match. And what we're looking for is somebody who's raised puppies before or is fully prepared for what it takes to constantly supervise them. And it's only for 6 to 8 months that you have to do it, but it's a lot of work, and we want to avoid having puppies return to the shelter because of how much work they are. But she does have a special issue, and that is that her knees are not normal. It's not going to affect her now, but in her future, as with any puppy you buy anytime, she might need to have knee surgery. So it's definitely something that you should think about before you get any puppy. What will their health problems be? They're going to have something. But in her case, we do know specifically that she might have to have knee surgery later in life. And so you're going to want to let your vet know that now and be prepared for it, save up for it, and she may never need it. But it is definitely a part of having a dog or cat. The expense that goes along with it is not always something that you expect right off the bat, but you should. You should plan for it and be ready for it. And in her case, at least we know one thing she already needs. She will also benefit from being kept at a normal weight. It may prevent her from having to have knee surgery in the future if she doesn't get fat. And that's easier said than done because she's so cute. You would just want to feed her. So if you are interested in taking on the challenge of puppies, then please come by and meet her and get on the list. She currently has 2 applications. And as I said, we're going to take 4. So it won't take very long for us to find somebody to love her and make the commitment she needs to have a great future. Our next guest is Max. And Max is a mixed terrier, maybe some part poodle. We're not sure, but he is only a year old, so typical of the story I was just telling you about Eve is Max came to us from a family who just doesn't feel that they have the time to raise a young dog, teach them the things they need to learn. House training will be part of it. Perhaps crate training. I know a lot of people are reluctant to use a cage for their dog, and I understand that. But one of the things that is important for a dog is to learn that the cage is safe should you ever have to use it. Because even if you're not going to use a crate in your daily life, there will be some day when Max will have to go to the vet and be dropped off, and they're going to use a crate. There might be a time if you had to travel by air or train where he would have to be crated. So it's kind of like a crib for a baby. If he learns that it's not scary and that it's a safe thing, then that will serve him well in the future, even if he never really has to use one. So it is a great thing to do for your dog to teach them to be in a crate safely without being nervous or afraid of that. And it has the added benefit of making house training a lot easier. If you choose not to use a crate, that's fine, but that means 24/7 supervision. So to house train a dog of his age, it only takes about 3 days, but you pretty much have to leash yourself to him inside and out. So that you can teach him not only that you don't want him to go to the bathroom in the house, but that you do want him to go to the bathroom outside. And the most frequent failure in house training, which we talked about when we showed you Caleb, who, by the way, is completely house trained now. It only took them about 48 hours. But when you are supervising him, is that it's very easy for people to fail to house train a dog by reprimanding them for going inside, sending them out in the fenced yard, calling them in, and giving them a treat for having been out in the yard. It doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because the dog learns not to eliminate in front of you. That means when you take them for a walk, they won't go. So when you come back in the house, they wait until you turn your back to go. And it's a problem that people cause easily, and it can be fixed easily as well. So if you want to adopt Max, then we'll give you a little crash course in how to do that at home so that he can be housebroken pretty soon. So if you are interested in a dog like Max, you should also consider, if you're not a dog groomer, what you might want to learn to take care of his beautiful red coat. Because he's going to be quite a lovely dog, but he will need to be brushed, and he will need a little bit of attention to his beautiful hair. Our next guest is JD, and JD is everyone's dream dog, chocolate lab, and he is 5 years old. He is neutered and already used to being a family pet, so he is going to be quite easy to plug into a family. And one of the things that people like about labs is how friendly and puppy-like they remain throughout their life. And also, even though I said he's everybody's dream dog, there are people who don't prefer retrievers because they want to just sit by the fire and read a book and have their dog warm their feet. Well, that's not what labs do, although they can do that too. Labs want to go with you, be with you, do stuff, and enjoy their life, even if that just means out in the backyard chasing a tennis ball. You could hide some hot dogs in the yard and let him find them. JD is probably on the borderline of healthy weight, so he is going to need to be a little bit careful about gaining too much weight because dogs don't have the same problems that people have with cardiovascular health and diabetes when they're overweight, but they do have joint disease and arthritis and things that can be made better by staying fit and trim. And yes, I hear that from my doctor all the time too, and it's hard to do. But it's a little bit easier to keep your dogs trim because they can't go to the store and most of them can't open the refrigerator. So it would help him to lose a little bit of weight, but he's not in any kind of danger zone. So if you have been waiting for a lab, then please consider coming by the shelter. There's also an amazing lab rescue in Potomac, and they have sometimes upward of 50 dogs. So if you've been looking for a lab, please don't wait. There are plenty to go around. But if JD in particular seems like a good match to you, then come on down to the shelter on Rosemont, meet him, see what you think. Our next guest is Sage, and Sage is a water spaniel. She is a purebred dog. And it's a little bit different from the Portuguese water dog that President Obama has, but not far related. These water spaniels are used for retrieving ducks on hunting trips, and they're very high energy, as you can see. They make really great pets. Their fur is so soft. And it does get a little bit longer than this, but not much, so it doesn't require being cut. It does have to be brushed. And there are water spaniel rescue groups, which certainly you are welcome to call us if you do water spaniel rescue and help Sage out. Sage came to us from a family who couldn't afford to have a dog anymore. So they brought her in. She is really a good, friendly, easy to handle dog. But one of the issues that we're having with her is she barks at people outside of her fence until they open it. So we don't want people to think that she's an aggressive dog, because she's not. But she will bark at people when they approach the cage until they open it. So it's a little bit hard for a dog like that to be adopted from an animal shelter. And one of the reasons is because when people walk past her cage, they're going to think that her barking is indicative of her personality. But she is just a sweet, sweet dog trying to find some pepperoni that was lost in the carpet. And we think she's going to make somebody a really great pet. As you could see, even when she came off her leash, all she wanted was to get the pepperoni. So if you are interested in learning more about water spaniels, then you can just look them up on Google and see if it might make a good match for you. And Sage also, like JD, is going to have to watch her weight. She's not in danger, but ideally she should be a little more trim so that when she gets older, she's not going to suffer joint disease that's related to being a little chunky when she was young. So if you think, and Randy's feeling bad because he just gave her 5 pepperonis, but she does get restricted food while she's here at the shelter, and we have volunteers that come and take her on outings to help her get some exercise, and our vets checked her out too. So if you think that Sage would make a nice match for you or someone that you know, or you know of a Water Spaniel rescue that might be interested, then please let us know. Our last guest for this episode is Blackie, and he was found 2 months ago, so we don't know his real name. But I really want to tell the story of what happened with this guy for people who lose their dogs, because I fear that this happens a great deal. So 30% of people who were surveyed by PetSmart Charities said that they got their pet by taking in a stray. Now, I would imagine that most of the people, maybe they put up signs and tried to find the previous owner, probably asked around in their neighborhood, probably checked online. But one of the things that doesn't happen is that they don't necessarily take the pet to their vet where the pet might get microchip scanned. And so they don't always know if there's another way to find their pet's owner. So one of the reasons that after 2 months they brought Blackie to us is, number one, they couldn't find the owner. Number two, he doesn't stay in a pen they made for him outside, and he'll run around the neighborhood and come around to the front of the house, and the neighbors don't really like that. And number three, he's not house trained. So by keeping him in a pen outside, they absolutely prevent him from going to the bathroom in the house, but he's not able to learn not to from that. So if you would like to adopt Blackie, and obviously he won't care if you change his name since that's not his real name, we will tell you how to house train him. We're also going to neuter him and microchip him. But the most important thing is, if you know someone who lost this little guy, then please let them know. You know, he was found over 2 months ago, so I'm sure whoever lost him has already given up on finding him. We did find one matching lost report, but the gentleman who even lived in the very same area said that his dog has a dock tail. So this wasn't a match, as surprising as that was. Same color, same size, same type of dog, same street, but he says that this dog is not a match for him. So if you know someone who was looking for their dog 2 months ago that's a little shaggy black terrier, then please contact them, let them know that he was in a safe place for 2 months while someone looked for his owner. And also they said they thought about keeping him, but because he doesn't stay in the pen outside, and because they didn't house train him, that they realized that they weren't up to it. So he's a very sweet dog, friendly. The gentleman who found him said he was great with their kids, didn't chase their barn cats, so he has a lot going for him. We just don't know where he came from, and now we may not be able to find the family that he came from because so much time has passed. So thank you for joining us on Pet Pals. We hopefully have shown you an array of animals that might make a good match for you or someone that you know. You can share their pictures from petfinder.com. You can share this episode of Pet Pals from the link at the bottom of your screen. And you can also go to our Facebook page, where Randy diligently takes the clips of every animal from this show, links them to the Pet Finder profiles, features them on the Facebook page, puts pictures from Pet Finder on the Facebook page. It's really a great place to get your multimedia messaging if you're helping us out, which I know a lot of you do. So thanks for everything that you do to help us get the word out about each and every one of these little guys. And hopefully today someone has seen someone that's going to make them very happy in the future. We'll see you next time.